Yo, dude, like I wanted you to react to this video. It's I don't know if you've ever heard of this content creator. He goes by the name of Antonio Speaks.
I have.
He's
I have heard of him.
yeah, dude, because I heard you giving like a nuanced take about like black folks when you were talking to Villa, and I was like, oh, I would like to see Camp react to this to see like what he thinks about this.
Okay, definitely. Tea and Toast with Ghost says, I'll be on when I get home. All right, sounds good, man. The door is always open, and anybody that is in this chat, Kavos, Exo Charles, if you guys would like to join in, you guys are more than welcome. Machiavelli, you're more than welcome to join the Discord conversation. But for right now, let's go ahead and see what this one is all about. The rise of racist content creators. I wonder who's going to be in this video. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see that now that I know how to do that. Let's go to BAM, and I'm going to share this screen here. All right, sir. Can you see what's going on?
Oh yeah, I can definitely see it.
Excellent. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to play the video, and then you just pause it whenever. Oh, hold on. Yeah. Tell me to pause it whenever. All right, let's go.
And 2025 is one of the most lucrative and sought after career fields, and I can see why. You could be a gamer, a lifestyle influencer, a streamer, or better yet, a white supremacist Instagrammer.
Look at how easy that was.
Oh, this guy. This guy. I recognize his mustache anywhere. Yeah,
I knew it.
This guy right here. He's really making a name for himself. Now that, Nick Fuentes basically paved the way for this guy, he's like, okay, I think I can throw my hat in the ring here. So, yeah, perfect. He's in the cotton fields. He's already triggering a lot of people that are watching this already. Interesting.
Cotton did not build America, and if we knew how annoying you guys were going to be, we would have just used Irish slaves.
Now, I was debating making this video because on one hand, I was like, should I really give these people my attention? But on the other hand, I think
it's all rage bait. Before we go any further in the video, whatever this guy is gonna say, not Antonio Speaks. I've actually seen a couple of his videos. He actually covered the Abba and Preach and the Stevie Knight drama. So I've seen a couple of videos of his, but what he's about to say, I mean, I can already tell you, I already know how this is going to play out, but let's just let it play out.
Important that we shine a spotlight on this type of ideology. One of the main reasons the mustache man back in Germany was so successful was because people caught on when it was too late. Now, these dudes are nowhere near what mustache man was, but you get the point. Now,
Tea and Toast with Ghost says, anyone want to take bets on Fresh and Fit and Abba and Preach? What do you mean? Like, take bets? Oh, that they're going to be featured in this video? I would definitely say that Fresh and Fit will definitely be in this video. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but it would be a safe bet. At least Myron would be on this video, but we'll see.
First content creator we're going to be discussing is Woman Propaganda. He has over 1 million followers, and in his description he says 5'7" high value alpha male, debunking the internet's most viral feminist propaganda. So as we can see, he started off basically being misogynistic, but that wasn't really getting him enough attention. So I'm going to let him explain how he mainly garnered most of his fan base.
I went viral saying a few times.
Do you think with the A it should be controversial to say it?
No. I don't think you should really get in trouble for saying any word, but the A for sure. Black people say it all the time with the A, and it's fine, so I think it's a totally different vibe. I haven't said it on camera with the hard R. I'll probably do it eventually.
The obsession with black people has to be studied. Now, as far as him saying the N-word,
damn, that's crazy. It reminds me of that female content creator, the one that Myron had on the show. Or no, I'm sorry, they were both on Piers Morgan. Do you remember the white lady? That, the house mom, the housewife, whatever, that says that casually says the N-word. It reminds me a lot about this. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna ask you. You say you've heard of this guy, right? I think his name is McDougal or Doggo or something like that.
Yeah, I only know of him because of him saying the N-word on Fresh and Fit. That's the only thing I know him from. I haven't seen any of his own content or anything like that. But I do know that he is kind of like, he's a shock jock, like in that type of way, like kind of how like Nick Fuentes and what's the name of that woman, the white woman that casually says the N-word?
Yeah.
That
The
woman.
one that came out on Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's because I saw this guy and I was like, I remember Camp talking about this guy, but I
Mhm.
thought you've seen his content before too.
No, just on Fresh and Fit, and I did know that he's just a rage baiter. It's like it's I don't know. I haven't seen anything that I agree with. He just seems like just kind of in the same camp as like a Nick Fuentes or that even a Myron Gaines, you know. So yeah. Can't really take any of this stuff that they say to heart. Like for me, even though I am half black, I do not get offended by like racist remarks against black people or Asian people for the most part. Like it's just for me, I just don't get offended. I have a very thick skin. There's really nothing anybody can say.
Wait, so Antonio, he's about to say that like he doesn't care if people say the N word, soft A. So that you don't.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
So I mean, dude, honestly, I've heard everybody say it, from white people to Spanish people. Everybody says it. Asian people say it. And I think as long as it's like, it's all in context, bro. Like, I don't get offended by the N word. I don't get offended by it. I don't, it's one of those things that, like, it's just never, even when I'm by myself in the car, like, I don't say it, it's just not in my vocabulary. It's not my vernacular, but people will have said it in front of me and it doesn't affect me,
Yeah.
When you say it with the A, it's like, it's almost like you don't even hear it. I think Bill Burr had a whole, like, I know you did a whole video on Bill Burr, but like, I know Bill Burr had a whole routine about this, how just between like black people and white people when they insult each other, they basically put the motherfucker before the racist remark, whereas if you say it after, it like amplifies it.
Yeah. Oh, I
know what I'm talking about?
But, yeah. I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like when I heard him say that, I was just thinking to myself like, oh well, like I'm sure that there are contexts where like I'm sure that some people would want to use it to bring people down, But I was kind of thinking that maybe perhaps and again, like I'm not black, so I can't really like say this with conviction, but like one of the questions that I've always wanted to ask is like, wouldn't it be better if people just say soft A and because the power of that word. It weakens when a lot of folks are saying it, so
it loses its meaning. I think if everybody's saying it, it's almost kind of like nobody's gonna offended by it because it's like it does lose its meaning over time, because the younger generation, they're not offended the way the older generation is, so it's a lot easier to have that conversation even amongst a multicultural group of people and they're all speaking in the same vernacular. It's just they all grew up saying it, they watch the rap music or they listen to the rap music and they all kind of relate to it the same, and they don't look at it as like a bad thing because they're just so disconnected from it.
You don't think that like perhaps seeing the images of like the past, like where slaves were being held, or like that one famous image of like the guy who has like all the lashes in his back, you don't think that does something to black folks?
I mean, I think I do actually. I mean, yes, I think it does. It does kind of reaffirm like their like hatred. Sometimes it even like kind of gives them like a reason to hate white people. By seeing that stuff, which is another kind of a point I wanted to talk about, is that they are now starting to not teach that. Like they're trying to move away from the whole slavery portion in schools because they don't want to teach it anymore. They just think that it's not relevant to today's type of society to like kind of put, black people in this weird mind space and then put white people in this weird, like almost like superior mind space about it, that, okay, this is how history is, whatever. So we are kind of up on, up above you guys and stuff like that. And now, I'm not supposed to feel sorry if I had nothing to do with your lineage being enslaved and stuff like that. Maybe my ancestors, but like nobody from my immediate family owned slaves. So, you shouldn't have any problem with me. And yet, there is like this kind of thing where like black people are kind of always on their toes when somebody is saying the N-word because they don't know if it's coming from an endearing place or if it's coming from I'm trying to like keep you in your place. Like, it could be anything. That's why it's like, you never know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a very ambiguous thing. You don't know if the person is saying because they actually have hatred in their heart, or if they're just like, no, like I grew up with a bunch of black people. Like I have a ton of black friends and stuff. Like I only date black women, you know, like it could be that whole type of scenario. And he's like, yeah, no, like I'm totally like down with the culture. I love rap music. I love everything about, you know, whatever. And yeah, I feel like I'm part of this whole collective, you know, and they could be completely white. They could be completely outside of the culture, like ethnically, but they connect with it. And, you know, these are the people that get the N-word pass, whatever, like, what's it called? That Owens guy. There's a white comedian. I can't remember his first name, but it's like something, Gary Owen, I think. He's like, I don't think he says the N-word, but he is kind of like considered like, he's kind of embraced by the black community, and he's a white comedian, you know, but he only dates black women. He connects with black culture, you know, and people were like, you know, he could have the N-word pass, but he chooses not to use it because he doesn't want to disrespect anybody, you know?
Oh, this guy, Gary Owen.
Gary Owen. Yeah. I mean, dude, he's like widely loved by the black community. And, it seems like, that's kind of like where you fall in when you're a comedian. You know, you either have a global appeal, you know, or you fit into a certain niche of people that like you and stuff. And Gary Owen, he's completely embraced the black community. So, but I mean, like I said, it all depends on the individual, where they're coming from, you know, like what their stance is on, you know, like the black experience and stuff. Like people that have lived amongst, you know, other black people and gone to school with them, dated them, and been in relationships with them and stuff like that. You know, it's like they have a little bit more, what's the word? I guess, I don't know. I wouldn't even call it credibility. I would just say like, it's not coming from a hateful place, you know? It's almost like it's a term of endearment for a lot of people. And that's why black people use that word, basically because they kind of want to take it for themselves and kind of put a spin on it that it's not like a negative thing anymore. But then you have another group of black people that just they want to eliminate the use of the word altogether, make it go away. You know, if you can make it go away in a generation, then everybody forgets about it, becomes part of the history books. You know, would the world be a better place if we didn't have, you know, racism? Probably. But you know, it's inevitable. You're always going to have people that are going to be stuck in their ways and not wanting to, you know, be so tolerant, you know, and you know, they don't go anywhere beyond their doorstep, you know, so they're stuck in their own little bubble. And yeah, I mean, I think you did a video on white cities, right? White only cities, or white only town or whatever. Yeah. So I mean, it's just like, there's always going to be pockets of the population that are going to want to kind of maintain a certain type of order, you know, or status quo, you know, and if it means, you know, keeping black people out or keeping brown people out, and that means, you know, more than just black people, but all non-whites out, then, yeah, I mean, that's what's going to be taught to the children, and that's what's going to be passed on, and it's going to continue long after we're dead. You know, the racism thing's not going away in our lifetime. I'll tell you that, you know. Maybe in our children's lifetime, maybe it might be too mixed up where everybody's more than one race at that point. But no, I mean, there's always going to be, you know, that pocket of people that are just like whites only, you know, which I'm like, that's fine, man. I mean, if you want to preserve your culture and everything like that, I'm all for it. You know, because I know there's I mean, you got cultures all over the world that are just, you know, Asians with Asians, and, you know, German people with German people, French people with French people, and Colombian people with Colombian people, you know? People don't like to mix. Some people do, you know, some people don't have a problem with it, but I don't know, man. I come from a place that if, you know, we didn't have this, hold on, is that my mic that just did that? Oh no, that was you. Okay.
Sorry, Camp, that was me.
No, how you doing, sir? Welcome to the stream.
I'm good, Camp. How you doing?
Good, man. I thought my mic was messing up again. Forever. I was getting PTSD.
I had my speakers turned up, and that was my bad.
Gotcha. Kavos just said, would you guys ever do another debate on what it means to be a man? If you guys do, I'd be down to join that conversation. Sonic, man, what do you think, brother? Do you think we've turned over every stone when it comes to that, like in terms of like dating and purpose and all that stuff and motivation and
No,
drive.
dude, like I mean, if you guys want, I could definitely I'll play the heel again, and then I'll argue for the opposite side if you guys want me to do that. I
I
can
mean,
definitely prepare for that.
you don't have to play the heel, man. Like I just because like I'm not playing the heel either. Like I'm not playing where I'm gonna like completely go against you just to go against you. Like I just think that we could probably just say what is on our minds, you know, and what's in our hearts. And
Well, the thing
I
is
would
that, like,
actually say let's be more realistic about what a man should be versus how he can be.
yeah, I mean, I'm down if you're down, Sonic. What do you think?
sure, yeah, because I mean, like, it's just like the thing is that like a lot of what I argue for is usually just it's a lifestyle that I like to live. I don't recommend it to anybody. I know not everybody can live it. That's why I say like I can play the heel and I'll over exaggerate my points. But I mean, you know, we could definitely do that if you guys want. I mean, we could do it now if you guys want.
It's crazy, man, because my one of the people I work with, they were. I told them I was like, yeah, I got to get home. They're like, why? What's going on? I'm like, I'm doing a podcast tonight. They're like, you have a podcast? I'm like, yeah, I got a podcast. I was like, they're like, what do you talk about? I'm like, well, you know, we talk about current events and stuff. I do a couple debates on there, and they're like, debates? I'm like, yeah, actually, I debated this one guy on what it means to be a man, and also tipping culture and all this other stuff. I always talk about that one, dude. Those are my favorite fucking videos out of all my content. I love the debates with Sonic. So like, I was like, yeah, like, so I was trying to kind of like walk her through a couple of the points and stuff, and then of course, women are so quick to judge us just off of like a few details. She was just like, okay, so if he doesn't know what it means to be a man, then yeah, he probably doesn't know how to tip. Because I told her that we did 2 debates on like tipping culture, and then and I was like, well, I was like, we made a little bit of progress, on the first video. We did a follow up. He said he did a couple restaurant tours, and he kind of was a little bit more attuned to what was going on around him, and he took all that into consideration, and he compensated appropriately, and then she was like, oh, okay, so you made a change. I was like, well, because I was like, he did another follow up video about that Asian guy that chased that guy out because I remember the ramen noodle place, and he told the guy how he's like, you didn't leave a tip or whatever. Remember that video?
Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, and he kind of debated me, and he baited me back into this whole like debate about tipping culture or whatever, and then I was like, yeah, and then he just said that he was I basically told her, I was like, yeah, you said that you just don't really like to participate now in the restaurants now. You don't really go out to restaurants anymore. I mean, you do. I mean, I'm sure you can still go out and eat and stuff like that, but like not as frequent as before.
Yeah, I just don't do it at all. I usually just, if my sister comes with me, then that's when I'll go with her because she's the tipper. I don't tip at all, man.
Well, that's unfortunate, man. Maybe we need to have a 4-peat about that. But if you guys want, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what it means to be a man. I mean, I'm getting a year older, man. On Monday, I'll be in, and I feel like I can bestow some knowledge on you, sir. But
Wisdom scores going up by 1.
just one, and it's a gradual increase. That's fine. That's how experience works. Do you want to finish the video first? The rise of racist content creators. It's only take 10 minutes. I think we got enough time to get through it.
No, if anything, after we finish this debate, if you guys want to get into the debate now, after we finish it, because if we get into the video, then by that time we're probably gonna be tired, So.
Well, you're gonna be tired. You know me. I can go all night, sir. All right. Well, let's go ahead and do it. Let's get you guys on screen so we know who we're talking to here. Let's go ahead and exit out of this.
Yeah. Before you jump off this, you can go ahead and do that. But if you think that Adolf Hitler became Chancellor of Germany just from those speeches, and everyone assumes that what he was saying in German was really bad, if you've ever actually heard those English translations, it'll blow your mind.
I actually saw a video. They did that. They basically took his speech and they did the I guess they switched out the German speak for English. And it just sounded like an Obama speech, man. Like a lot of stuff that people wanted to hear.
Yeah,
I was like,
basically
okay.
how he got That's how
Yeah.
he got elected chancellor. And then once he was elected chancellor and he had basically the SS set up, ready to go, as soon as he was elected chancellor, he had the SS go out and basically assassinate all the people in power that helped him get into power.
Hmm.
And basically that's how he became Fuhrer of Germany.
It's yeah, he got everybody, he got the masses on his side, you know. And once he got to power, yeah, man, he just started he had his little private police, the Gestapo, you know, basically going in and round people up, man. And I mean, a lot of people are kind of equating the whole ICE agents thing to kind of like the Gestapo, kind of similar things happening in history, but just kind of coming back a little bit different. Trump is all about, you know, America first, and you know, stopping this whole immigration thing, deporting people that are illegals. You know, people are kind of drawing a little bit of parallels with that. So
Please. The closest thing the president of the United States could get to the Gestapo would be the Marine Corps, because there's actually standing orders that the president can send the Marine Corps anywhere they want for 30 days.
I did hear about that actually, like basically taking over
Yeah.
cities and stuff, and what's it called? Not military police, but what's that? What is that thing? What they call it? Martial law, basically. Martial law could be basically like the Gestapo basically coming in, taking all your weapons, you know, locking you up indefinitely for any type of dissension, and going against the status quo, whatever, you know.
Well, Cam, there's a very big difference between martial law and what I'm talking about. Because what I'm talking about is that it's written into the executive contract that the president of the United States can order the Marine Corps anywhere for any sort of operation for 30 days. And the biggest historical example of this was just after World War II, excuse me, when Alcatraz was still a prison, when Alcatraz was still in function as a prison, the prisoners actually managed to riot and get control of the prison, and New York, the state of New York, couldn't take the island back. So the sitting president at the time looked at the situation, and he sent all of the Marine Corps World War II vets who stayed in after the fact. As soon as the prisoners saw who was coming, they immediately surrendered.
I mean, yeah. I mean, how are you going to go up against a military outfit, dude? That's just not. It's a losing battle. You know, what do you have? You have Shanks, man. They have freaking AK-47s and M16s.
Well, actually, at the time, let's see, at the time, it wouldn't have been the AK came like 10 years later, if memory serves. Most Americans, if they came back from the European front, a lot of Americans came back with a lot of those German-made guns, and
Oh, okay.
those actually were fairly nasty. But
Okay.
no, the weapons they would have had at the time would have been the Browning, or would have they had the M1 Grand? More than likely, it would have been the Browning, because the Grand was more used in Vietnam.
That's the bolt action rifle, and then the light machine gun for the other one, which would be good for crowd control.
The Browning was actually the rifle. Well, they were both rifles, but the Browning had a lot more problems. I mean, the greatest irony for the U.S. in World War II was that the English, the French, and even the German firearms were better than what the Americans had. And you know, that was actually stories that World War II vets would tell, was that when they got to the European front in France, you know, the French military that was still there, they often well, no, it wasn't the French, it was the English. The English handed them these French-made weapons, and they were actually solid and decent. But then the upper brass said no, took those away, and gave them different American weapons that had a lot of problems. So a lot of Americans, when they actually got their hands on German weaponry, they actually started using that more often than they used the American stuff. It was actually one of the reasons why the U.S. changed so many of their weapon systems after World War II. They actually studied what the Germans were making, and eventually that's where you get from the M1 Grand up to the M14 during Shield and Storm, if memory serves.
I mean, German ingenuity, man, is definitely a well-known thing, from cars to military weapons and stuff. So, I mean, even in the architecture as well, Germans are on top of it. So, I mean,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it makes sense, man. I mean, if you have a far superior weapon, it's kind of like didn't the Japanese also after what was it? I don't want to say the wrong thing, but after a certain war with Japan, didn't they upgrade their weaponry? Because, before they were using bows and arrows and shit, and they realized that, oh, we have an inferior weapon, we need to take up muskets and all that stuff. I don't know what time period I'm talking about, but I
know what you're talking about.
Vague memory.
The term you're looking for is dragoon. I don't remember the time. I don't remember who was the emperor, but I do know the time period you're talking about. It was, I want to say, about 50 or 60 years after Admiral Nimitz landed.
Yeah, I mean, you can only go with tradition for so long until you realize that you're outmatched, And I mean, America, with this global satellite system that we have, where we can just drop missiles, drone strikes and stuff, you don't really have to send in full armies anymore, man. You just need to have more firepower than the other person.
Yeah, that only works when you're clearing area, but when you've got people who are dug in, it doesn't work that well.
I remember
America learned that lesson in Vietnam.
Yeah. So Sonic, let's get to this thing, man, before you fall asleep. I don't want you to fall asleep. Okay, so no, I know, but you're gonna fall asleep, and I don't want that to happen, because this is what the people want. People want another debate, and I want another debate, and I think it would be good actually to have Tea and Toast with Ghost here. Can I offer like a third opinion? Really, maybe you can be the bridge between you and me. Maybe.
What about Kavos though? He wanted to join as well.
Kavos, you're more than welcome, man. The chat is open. You're more than welcome to join. I think I put the link in there, so you can just join it whenever. Would you like to start, Sonic, with whatever opening point you want to say in terms of what you think what it means to be a man? I love that we're having this conversation again.
All right. Well, I mean, there's something new that I've been thinking about that I think that, at least to me, it really shows us that we're very fluid. And that means that when it comes to, I'm sure that a lot of you guys have heard about the DL Hispanic stuff, because you watch O'Shea Do Jackson, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you remember that video? Okay. Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're talking. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, he talked about how the Hispanic community is, a lot of the men there are like on the down low, and they engage a lot in these sexual acts, and a lot of it is gay. And I started thinking to myself, like, wait a minute, man, like, so like a lot of these guys who like to, they like to settle under this umbrella of masculinity.
Machismo is the technical term, yeah.
Right. So they like to like uphold this machismo type of like aura, but yet they're practicing like these acts that would be considered gay, right?
I don't get it, man. I really don't.
Wait.
No, go. You're good. Good.
And then not only that, I don't know if you know this or not, but like samurai back in the day were gay. They used to like interact with each other in that way too as well, and it was very accepted during that time. So now that we live in a modern time,
I never heard of that before.
Neither have I. Neither. What? That's crazy.
I heard of it, but it wasn't widely as accepted that I've heard.
Gay ninjas? Is that what we're talking about right now? Gay ninjas.
No.
That's crazy, dude.
Basically, the idea was that the samurai were having a hard time finding marriage partners, so they kind of just buddied up, but it was tolerated in shadow. It wasn't widely accepted, at least not from what I heard.
I mean, you move in the shadows, you sleep in the shadows, you touch each other in shadows. I don't know, tuck each other in the night, give you a little smooch. I don't know, man. That's boys being boys, man, all over again, just in a different culture.
Hey, sorry I cut you off, Sonic. You can keep going, bro.
Yeah, no, you're good. So yeah, like from what I've read, it seems like it was, accepted, very well tolerated during that time, and that's when I started thinking, like, what the hell is going on, in this era where everybody's so upset about, because not upset, but like it's very restricted when it comes to men, because oftentimes we have the red pill community, we have all these other communities that always like to tell men that you got to go on the straight and narrow path, which is find a woman, an attractive woman if you can, and then have kids or whatever the case is. But why is it so difficult for men to want to explore being with another man, and we have these women who can go and explore all of these options, men and women, and no one really looks down on that. But when it comes to men, it's like there's like this standard behind it. And so to me, I ask myself, well, it seems to me like this whole idea of like, what it means to be a man, it seems like it's an idea that a good amount of people want to uphold, even though that's not in their nature to do so. So I think that it goes back to what I was initially going to say, that I think that the majority of us, actually, no, not the majority. I'm pretty sure that a good portion of us, I'm sorry, I think that all of us, that's what I meant to say. I think that all of us, all men in some way are gay, but the ones who deny it, continuously deny it, they're the ones who don't want to accept that they have some sort of fluidity when it comes to being gay.
All right.
What do you think about that?
Who wants to start?
I don't even know how to
Best way I'm
respond to
gonna
that.
put this is that if it's for men, at some point there does need to be release, and for some guys they can just close their eyes and make a hole. Sadly, I have heard of that. So
Yeah, the only thing I will say is that it doesn't matter how dry of a spell you're on. You don't have to. Whatever is gross to you is gross to you, and something about another dude, it's just, I don't know, we stink, we're hairy, we're nasty. There's just nothing about another man that I don't get why women are attracted to men, because of how nasty we can be and how we let ourselves go, some of us. But like even like people that are like would you call metrosexual, ones that are like really good on their grooming and they always smell nice, and they could be whatever like that, they're still straight but they take good care of themselves, whatever. Even those, I'm just like, it's repulsive, it's repulsive to me. So I don't really agree with your statement that we're all a little gay. I think there's a little bit of tolerance that we can all have of like another human being, and their choices that they make, as long as it's not like infringing on our choices. I've said this before. Like, I treat gay people like heroin addicts. As long as you don't try to stick anything in me while I'm sleeping, we're cool. Because I'm not going to try to like change who you are, because this is who you've become. This is like this is what you believe in. It could be your religion. It could be, your sexual orientation. I'm not here to infringe on that. That's whatever you want, man. And I'm all about, live and let live. As long as you don't try to change me or change my children, it is what it is, man. I'm sounding like Stevie Knight right now. I don't like that.
I think his point, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's just trying to say like there's a social stigma when it comes to that. Like, for women, it's okay for them to go explore and, be lesbian and stuff. But for men, we're kind of taught like that it's wrong.
And that we should suppress it.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong.
I do know in like the church and stuff, like they're like, yeah, so you have these thoughts and stuff and these feelings, whatever, and you're just supposed to pray it away. Like I've heard of that, especially like in like Christian and like Catholic religions and stuff like that. You just pray it away, and it will be fine, whatever. When really a lot of the higher ups in those religions are leading double lives, stuff's coming out, and yeah. And
So
If it's all right with you guys, so I remember your guys' debate on this the first time, and one of the things that Sonic brought up that I actually agree with is the whole being traditional and how it's detrimental to men in today's society. I don't know if you remember you saying that, Sonic, but that was something I was hoping we could talk about, because that was actually something that I do kind of agree with Sonic on that.
Yeah. Actually, right now, after camp was done, I was actually going to bring up the traditional aspect of it, because that what I said about the whole gay stuff actually falls into that. But if you want to jump straight into it, let's do it.
The only thing I'll say, we can move on from this, is that I think there are some men that can go both ways, can be fluid or whatever, and there's some men that are, secretly attracted to men, but they are just locked into this what's it called, a social construct or whatever, that I have to be a certain way or whatever, because that's what is widely popular and stuff. I don't want to be ostracized from my community or anything like that, so I gotta hide who I am and stuff. I think that's a sad life, a sad existence to have. I mean, I only know how to be authentic myself, and I find other guys completely repulsive. I could never see another guy in a romantic way ever,
But now that goes back to what Kavos was saying, the traditional mindset. You have a traditional mindset. How do I know that what you're thinking right now isn't your thoughts? That traditional mindset that you have, that was passed down from somebody else. That wasn't your own thoughts. Because the fact is that if it was your own thoughts, then you would be able to explore a little more about this idea of, perhaps, I'm gay in some way, but
I've seen gay images before, and it always cringes me out. It always it repulses me, man. It's never been something I could see how that's enjoyable. I've never said that. I've never even looked at it in a way where I could see how I could, whatever, I could see how that would feel good or whatever like that. No, never. It never comes in my mind, but it's just it's almost kind of when the way I guess I relate it to is, you see something like that and it's just horrific. It's almost like seeing a dead body. It's oh, this is something I shouldn't have seen, I just want to erase it from my memory.
So let me ask you this question then. So if a woman proposes to a man, how does that make you feel?
It's fine. It's fine.
If a woman proposes, okay, so now you're fine with it?
No, I'm not fine with it happening to me. I'm fine with it if anybody else wants to do it. That's fine, dude. I don't care. I don't care. Oh, okay, but what I did say on our debate is that I think it's unnatural. I think it's unnatural, man.
To kind of have a point of contention with it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so this is okay. Here's what I think. I think that when men are in their roles, their masculine roles of pursuing women, taking care of women, and letting women kind of nest in the house and stuff while they go out and, provide and stuff, I think that's when that's kind of a natural order for when men can feel good in their masculinity and women can feel good in their femininity. I think everything is in a very good balance when it's like that. But when the roles are reversed and you have kind of the woman in the domineering position, she's kind of leading the relationship. She's taken on a lot of outside stress to the relationship, and it's going to make her harder. It's going to make her more masculine, and it's going to make her less attractive to the man, because if the man is attracted to women, he's not going to want a masculine female. He's going to want a feminine female. It doesn't matter what you look like. If you're masculine, it's a huge turnoff to some guys. I have to say that. I have to say that now because I honestly think that that's pretty much what I think.
Yeah, I don't think guys out there who do want that muscle mommy kind of thing.
I mean, wanting a muscle mommy is completely different from having a masculine female. I think, because you can still have a feminine mom, a mom that's making sure you always clean up after yourself and always nagging you and stuff like that. I don't know. Some they do say that some men end up marrying their mothers, whatever. At least that personality type. But I think yeah, everybody's kind of like in an equilibrium when a man is taking care of his family and has that role, and kind of like that, the power of being like the decision maker, and like where they go and what's the next move and stuff. Whereas like the woman is basically there to kind of like make the house a home, care for the children and kind of be like an asset to the man, I think that's kind of like the natural order. But, you got this other thing now where you got these masculine women that are wondering why, they can't find an ultra masculine man to kind of put them in their feminine. It's just like, it's repulsive to guys to have to deal with another woman that's like masculine like that, when there's so many other options, so many easier options to deal with. It's like, why would you willingly want to go into that?
What made you think that was it? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Ghost.
Yeah, most guys are going to agree with Camp here. I don't want to marry a woman who acts like my gym bro. I want a woman who's actually feminine.
Mhm.
I mean, there is that saying that goes around that women have become the men they want to marry.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Careers, education, higher positions, corporate leadership, absolutely. Owning their own houses, owning their cars, all that stuff. And it's just like when a woman puts down roots like that and you meet her, she already has her own house, her own car. You're basically in the position where she could take you or leave you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is that it's because that argument that you guys have just kind of falls apart when we look at gay folks. Like, gay folks are literally dating men. So when you guys say that no man wants a masculine woman, I mean, it kind of falls apart when you really think about that. There's guys out there literally dating men.
Actually, I disagree here with Sonic, because even in lesbian relationships, there's women who are more masculine, and there are women who are more feminine. I mean, one of my previous bosses, she swung both ways, but she was married to a woman, and I think I saw her once. And if I hadn't been told beforehand that that was a woman at like first sight, I've been like, what's he doing here? That would have been my first thought.
Yeah.
So for men, it does track that there would be the masculine man for one side of the relationship, and there'd be the feminine, a guy who's more feminine. But as for most guys, but as for most men, we can kind of flip flop between, what we need and what is necessary.
Right. I think it still boils down to male and female, like, positioning, whether it's two men, two women, there's always like the male aspect in the relationship who's like the more dominant one. I've never seen it where it's like two masculine men just like going at it. There's always a feminine version.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but even you said that you are repulsed by or not repulsed, but like you don't really like to explore or even dig into like the whole like gay sphere, that whole gay community. So how do you know that that's the case or not?
I live in Atlanta, bro. It's like the gayest spot on earth besides Miami. Miami's pretty gay.
No, but both of you guys are just giving me anecdotes though, like experiences from your this is essentially qualia, where it's just your experience, but I don't understand your experience because I don't see the way you guys see it, But the reality is that there's different types of relationships. It doesn't just have to be men and men, but there's like all sorts of relationship where like there's two, I guess, feminine.
But couldn't you argue that those are antidotes too?
Which ones?
Well, I'm actually speaking from a place of experience here.
No, that's why I said that it's anecdotal. Like when you say it's experience, that means that it's anecdotal.
Well, that's all we can do is speak from experience. We can't speak from the general sense, because we're not the general we can't speak for the general populace, we can only speak from our own. We can only give you our mindsets and what has worked for us. And
no, right, but we could look at statistics, and statistics indicate that there's a population of gay folks out there.
It's not a large population though. It's not
exactly. That's what I'm saying. But like what I'm trying to say though is that it's not as rigid as you guys think it is, where it's just men and women, and the female has to play the more feminine part, where like the male has to play the more masculine part. Like it's very fluid,
I mean, have you ever seen two women and then like the one is like the butch or the The Stud. Have you ever seen that? It's like the woman basically could pass for a guy because just the way that she's dressing. She'll usually have like, you know, just male clothes on, like nothing really flattering to her figure. And she's the stud, you know? And people actually make content by guys will hit on the stud. They'll approach the two women or whatever, and they'll hit on the stud, and the stud will feel so awkward, be like, "What are you talking about?" And like, you know, like my girl's right here. He's like, "Yeah, but I'm trying to see what you're doing." It's funny. It's funny because it catches them completely off guard because they never know what to do, you know.
Right, but isn't it? Can't we just say that that's more or that's more or less a heuristic that humans do? Because I mean, we are flawed mentally. We are flawed whenever we activate our brains to to distinguish reality. So we're going to rely on like these faulty mechanisms to rely on, right? So can't we just say that this is like the fault of like the mind, the brain, the way it functions?
I don't even call it a fault, man. I think, I mean, we are naturally wired to like what we like. You know?
No. Oh, okay, well, we're wired, but based off of what we've been taught in the environment. So if we're constantly around like an environment where it's telling you like you're a man, you're a man, you're a man, you're probably going to adopt those traits, those values for yourself, right?
I don't know. I think it starts a lot sooner than that, dude. It starts a lot sooner.
Depends. Well, Sonic, you're going over the whole nature versus nurture thing here. And the thing that we have to remember is that a species' nature, especially if the species is successful, is that a species that is successful has to reproduce. So Camp is correct that most men that, you know, I'll sit here and, you know, spitball maybe 90% of men will go for women when, you know, it's, you know, when they want to, when it's, you know, it's the right time for family for them, because you never know when it's the right time to actually have a family. For some guys, it's young. For some guys, it's a lot older. You can never really know that. So from what I'm getting from Camp's perspective here is that in nature, men are naturally what he's talking about, which is correct. And, you know, what Sonic's talking about is nurtured. And, you know, sadly nowadays we are nurturing more what they call gender fluidity. The only problem is that it heavily conflicts with nature. And, you know, this is the reason why when you see them talk about the depression stats amongst men and women, you know, this is the reason why those stats are getting worse for women while men's are going down. But they're both in my opinion, you know, not factually, but in my opinion, they're both disproportionate to each other. And it's, you know, it just boils down to, you know, do we want successful humans reproducing, or do we want humans to fall in decline here? So from the nature argument, Camp is correct, but from the nurture argument, Sonic is also correct. It's just, how do we coincide this? And the sad truth is we have to acknowledge that both of these points are valid. It's just that that for some, they just don't want to acknowledge that this can be nurtured into humans. That's my best bet here.
I mean, I think when you have a society that is, you know, just bound with so much like pleasure and technology and convenience and stuff, you start to like lose sight of the thing that kind of drives us all, you know, in terms of like this, you know, we used to be hunter gatherers, you know, but now we don't have to lift we don't have to, you know, lift a muscle for food now, you know. It's so easy and so accessible, and so that struggle isn't there anymore, you know. So when you take away the struggle of having to find a relationship and form a meaningful relationship with someone, and all you can do you don't have to go outside. You can just go on Instagram, or you can go on Tinder, and you can just flirt with girls all day if that's what gets you off and stuff, and you don't have to actually like develop yourself as a person, you know, because you have this technology, you know, that's so accessible. And, you know, you have, you know, pornography, all this other stuff that can just completely, you can get lost on it, you know, and it's almost becomes a replacement for, you know, a relationship. it kind of makes sense to me that the society is going to devolve into just a lot of fulfilling prophecies for a lot of people. Like, I'm just here for myself. I'm just here for my pleasure, and I'm very selfish about it, because I've never had to share it with anybody else,
So how come we're not hunter gatherers anymore?
Because there's no point. We have a surplus of food. Access is easier than ever.
To put it simply, we found better strategies, right?
Yeah, it's not even a thing that we worry about. We don't worry about clean water. We don't worry about anything.
But that goes back to the traditional things, where this is why I said last debate that the traditional mindset of trying to instill those old school values to these men, this is what's holding men back, because now we're in a different climate where new strategies have to be implemented, but yet the older generation says, no, this works, when clearly it's not working in this new climate. Does that make sense? Because we have advanced from all of that. Like what do we have now? Now women have rights. They understand that they can also contribute their part to society. We've moved on from all of that stuff.
Yeah, but men can still find ways to provide for a family. And
I kind of agree with them. I don't know.
I mean, go ahead, Ghost. Because all I was going to say is that men can still find a way to provide, to find a mate, to create a family, to foster a legacy, and have that type of fulfilling life. I'm not saying it's for everyone, because it's not for everyone. Some people are just like, that's not what I want. I don't want to be tied down to one person. I want to just experience everything. And, that's fine if that's what you want.
Yeah, but you don't have to necessarily be like traditional to do that, right? I mean, because what you explained, that doesn't necessarily sound like traditional to me. That just kind of sounds like just living a normal life. I don't see how traditionalism has to do with that.
Normal isn't bad, in my opinion. I think normal can be very fulfilling. If it's something that has been going on for generations upon generations, it's worked, and being able to watch your children grow up and eventually have children of your own. Once you reach being a grandparent, that's supposed to be like the best part of your life. Not all of us get there, but that, for me, like, that would be a goal, to see my kids have children and just see the next generation and stuff, to see like the actions that I've taken to create these little people and to continue society. I feel like I've contributed, I haven't overly contributed like some of these people. I at least replaced myself, and my wife has replaced herself, So, but like I said, man, it's not for everybody, and I'm not really going to down anybody if that's not the view that they have. I mean, I just think that if it's worked for this long, I'm not saying it's the correct way. It works for me, I can only speak for myself and anybody that agrees with me. But
Cam, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead, man.
Sorry to cut you off, but does your wife work?
She does. She's a cake decorator. She works in the mornings, and I work in the evenings. So we split our time with our kids.
Well, okay. I'm only asking because, like, wouldn't it be fair to say that, like, there might be some dynamics in your relationship that isn't traditional, like, all the way?
Well, she didn't work when we first got together. She wanted to work. That was her choice. And I told her, I was like, I make plenty where you don't have to work, but she wanted to work because she didn't want to just sit by. She wanted to contribute.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Finish, Kavos, because I really want to hear what you had to say.
No, I was just saying, okay, go ahead.
Sonic's point, he's half right, but the fundamental problem is what happens when you let the base of your society and those core values just rot away. Sonic's half right here, but we can't forget that it was those traditional values that built a lot of societies. And normally what happens to a lot of societies that walk away from their traditional values or just discard them completely, those societies generally fall apart.
Yeah, definitely.
Look what happened to Athens, Greece, right?
I agree with Ghost.
I
agree with Ghost.
Well, also how the Republic of Rome became the Empire of Rome.
Mm-hmm.
These are all historical examples of where they had their core values in place, and then after they were like, these core values don't work anymore, we're just not going to abide by them. Once that happens, next thing you know, it's hedonism, Sodom Gomorrah, and then next thing you know, the world's flooded.
It's a slippery slope.
Well,
It is,
well,
and that's the reason why I sit here and say Sonic's half right. As an animal, we do need to adapt to the new strategies. However, if we just forego all of our values that got us here, we're heading straight for our own destruction.
I agree with that.
that's true. When I think about like the whole being traditional, at least in modern times, like I'm mostly looking at it from like a dating perspective. Like I do agree with Ghost on like the society wise, but I don't know, when like Sonic is saying like it's detrimental for a guy to be traditional. I'm mostly looking at it from like the dating lens, if that makes sense.
Like, you think a woman will take advantage of a traditional guy? Like, if a guy is basically like paying for everything, she's just gonna get used to it and just like keep leading him on to where like it's never gonna be an actual relationship. It's just gonna be her leeching off him.
For sure. I mean, it could happen, definitely.
I don't know. I still think it comes down to the individual and like what he thinks. And I mean, a traditional guy is going to want a traditional woman, and we can see when a woman is trying to, string us along, and not really meeting us halfway, so to speak, in terms of like the relationship. Like it's all on us. That's definitely something that traditional guys, should understand, that that's not what we're going for. We're going, a traditional guy is going to want a traditional girl, a girl that's going to want to be inner feminine and want to support the man and just kind of get on his program. Whereas if you see a woman who is probably really masculinized, or even is just being a gold digger, it's a red flag, man. It's like these guys aren't blind, It's like there's a lot of pattern recognition that goes on where you can see like, okay, I know where this is going. I don't want to. This is it. This is the last date, like I just wanted to see what you're all about. I kind of got a lot of information from it, and you can make that discernment. So I'm saying traditional guys can still make that discernment, can still have your standards, and you don't have to settle for anything less.
I just don't think you can be fully traditional. I talked about this the last time we were here, but like, I don't know. It's like I said before, man. It's just so different nowadays. Like, I think from both sides, men and women, I think it's hard to be like fully traditional.
It is if somebody doesn't clear like at least $2 million a year.
Damn. I mean, this is kind of like why I tell like some of the folks who believe this kind of philosophy that like, I think a lot of them again still rely on like old traditional strategies to land a woman. But like I had made this video where like this OnlyFans model, Camp watched it on stream, but in that video I talk about just briefly at the end of it, where I briefly talk about how, when it comes to dating women, like one of my strategies was, because I don't do this anymore, but one of my strategies was to bring the woman into my group and just kind of see how she acts around other people and just get to know her like that without ever telling her that I want to date this woman. I think that like, sending subtle cues and communicating with her, that lets her know that you're interested in her. But I would be very careful with that. I would see how she would behave, if this is the type of behavior I would want for myself, someone that can support me. And, ultimately, if I thought that she was a great fit, then I would then try to make a move on her, and, it wasn't successful all the time. But to me, I rely more on that strategy because I get to see who this person is rather than having some random woman that I met online or wherever, and then having some sort of expectation for me because she heard this 1,000 times online.
That is true, man. Especially with the modern woman, you are kind of battling against a lot of her exes, and what they provided for her. And it's either one or two things. You could either have to be a step up from the ex-boyfriend or be something completely wonderful that she didn't know existed, So it's tough, man. And I think a lot of guys fall short because the last guy, the ex guy, basically he simped. He did too much. You know, he set the bar too high or too low or something, and now she's wrecked forever. You know. And I'm not saying all these women out here are marriage material. There's plenty of women out here that are not marriage material, but that's why, you know, that takes a lot of experience and just meeting people, communicating with them, and just kind of figuring them out, man.
Yeah, dude, like whenever I would bring women into my sphere like that, and then I would communicate with them, and just be friendly with them, like the amount of stuff that they would reveal is unbelievable. A lot of
Hmm.
men, especially in the red spill space, they want to know, like,
You
the
said
body
red spill
count, which is
space.
like, did I set that?
You
Oh, red
did.
pill space.
I
Sorry.
know what you meant.
Oh, red pill space. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, a lot of these men want to know that one magic number, the
What's your body
count.
count? What's your body count?
Yeah, dude, like you have no idea when you're friends with these girls, like they will open up and they will tell you everything you want to hear, man. And I'm not saying this as a way to manipulate them, because this is why I've never said it in one of my videos, because it just sounds so manipulative. But like it's true, like when you're their friends, they trust you, they gain a lot of trust, and they reveal these kinds of details to you. A lot of
Hmm.
these men want to do it, but the thing is that like a lot of these red pill guys, they will probably never get to they will never get to that point, because they don't believe that you could be friends with a woman. So
Oh yeah,
this is
absolutely
kind of
not.
what I'm talking. Yeah, this is kind of what I'm talking about when I say that, like, those traditional values are, I mean, those traditional strategies just don't work in this day, in this time. Like it. That's why I'm like super against like the whole traditional mindset. I'm just like, it doesn't work, man. Just get away from this mindset, man.
Well, I mean,
You know?
honestly, man, you're gonna figure it out eventually, whether what works and what doesn't work. So, I mean, you got one life, sir, and
Yeah,
you
but
you
but
can
the
let us
thing
know
is
how the
that
result ends. The thing is, man, okay. So the red pill guys, I think their whole agenda is to keep men single. Okay, I've said this before. I just think that it's not about that. It's about making money at the end of the day, giving you those sweet lies, getting you to like be like, yeah, this guy's really making sense. I don't think it's about that. I don't think it's about improving men with women. I think it's just to get money out of men. That's all it is. It's OnlyFans for men. That's what the red pill is. I don't think it's helping. I think no. I think the people you need to listen to, if you have them, your father, if not your father, your grandfather, just people in your immediate circle, people that are in successful relationships. I think it's good to listen to, because it's always good to hear like a perspective of people like that are making things happen. I see people all the time that are celebrating like their 50th anniversary, 40th anniversary. It's just like, I always ask them, I was like, dude, in November, I say this all the time. I was like, in November, it's gonna be 9 years of my life. Like, do you have any advice for me, in terms of like how to get to double digits? I just say it to be friendly, because I already know what to do to go the distance. But I always like to hear people that are 40 years in, 50 years in, and they always say the same thing. Yes, dear, you're right. I'm sorry, I was wrong. They always say the same thing. And I was just like, it doesn't have to be like that. I mean, you can put up a little bit of fight, right? And they're like, nah, if you want to make it to double digits, And I was like, okay. But at least I know how my relationship is, like I do take care of my wife. I take care of my kids and stuff. I make sure that they're happy. We do have disagreements, and I think we have healthy conversations, and we never go to bed angry. I think that's very important, but we have that communication. And I think that's kind of what gets broken down with people that eventually grow apart. Once they stop talking, it's like, that's the end of it.
I don't know, man. That sounds a bit patronizing if you ask me.
What do you mean?
I think
How?
like the whole like, oh yeah, just say yes, you're right, dear, and of course, like that.
Well,
just
they're
sounds
saying
patronizing.
that in front of the wife, of course. Like whenever I'm talking to these people, like they're usually, the wife is present, so they got to be on their best behavior. When I ask something like that, like, what you got any tips for me and stuff? They're like, just say yes, dear, you're right, I'm sorry, and
Oh, so it sounds like they're just trolling the wife while she's in front of them, right? Like that's
No, they're not.
it sounds like the
Sadly,
truth.
No, sadly, what the nuance that's missing here, that if you've ever been in a long-term relationship, is that the way women react to things is just mind-boggling. My ex, she always used to say my tone was off, and I'd be like, I've been told my whole life my tone is flat, even, and even in some cases a little nasally. And there's just like nothing there. Like it's emotionally flat. But every so often she'd be like, "What's your issue?" And I'd be like, "Nothing." Like I'm like my like it's just flat.
Right.
So a lot of what Camp's talking about here is you're not necessarily saying, yes, dear, you're right. It's more of that affirmation, that emotional affirmation. Let me be specific here, that you're still there with her.
Yeah.
And not with your, oh, yes, dear, you are 100% logically on the ball here.
Uh-huh.
The day that some man actually admits that out loud, he's gonna have like every guy turn and look at him like, dude, what's your did you get hit on the head or something?
True. Yeah. I mean, he's in for a long ride home, if he's really saying what's on his mind.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, I've seen women too, like women would be like, he has no advice to give you. He doesn't know what he's doing. Just joking. It's like, that's the other side of it. That's a woman kind of placating men, I guess, kind of in a playful kind of way, not being too serious, maybe a little serious. Maybe there's an ounce of truth to that. But I think something about the familiarity that you get with a long-term relationship is that, you don't have that barrier anymore of trying to keep up appearances, because you've seen each other naked. You've probably showered together, you've probably seen each other when you're sick, you've seen each other you've seen the other without makeup and the other one, in their underwear, passed out, so it's like, it's one of those things that like, once that barrier of keeping up appearances is done with, it doesn't mean that attraction is done with. It just means that you're on to that next level of the relationship, And most people, they don't like to get to that point of the relationship. They like it to keep in that honeymoon phase, where we're still in love and we just can't wait to see each other and stuff. And it's not really about duty. It's more about just like, I just want to see this person, And once you transition, it becomes about duty. It becomes about responsibility, and
most women don't handle relationships outside of the honeymoon phase that well either, especially now in modern times. They're just chasing dopamine high.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate, with the advent of social media, the illusion of options and, just people in the DMs, being like, look, I can show you this. I can take you here. And I can see how I can do a number on a person's psyche that is, maybe holding out for something better.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know, man. I'm in a very, I don't know how unique of a situation I'm in, where me and my wife, we are the exact same age, I'm not with a woman who is 7 years younger than me or 20 years younger than me and stuff. It's like, I've had all of this life experience with this person, and all these wonderful memories that I've just, we've already agreed that we're going to grow old together, So it's like, once you have like that type of relationship, it's like, dude, like it's a whole weight off your shoulders, man. Now you can just live and, take care of your kids and work hard and go for your dreams and stuff because you have the relationship part handled.
Yeah. Camp's description of his marriage is what you actually want to see in a long-term relationship where you're normally on the same page and you're trying to max everything out. She lets you go on your grind while she's supporting you. That's actually something that a lot of modern women really don't do, is that when a guy gets on his grind and he's really cranking it out at work or on whatever side project he's working on, most modern women nowadays tend to treat that like, oh, he's ignoring me. He's, he's off in la la land, whatever. And they tend to view that as the end of the relationship. While in the past, it used to be when a man was a man and he was doing what a man needed to do, it wasn't shut up and smile. It was, honey, thank you for providing. Here, let me rub your feet. No, it used to be understood that men needed to work, men needed to do whatever they needed to do to thrive. And when they want home, when they came home, they didn't mind being a parent, but in a lot of cases where you have guys who would go work in a coal mine, do they want to come home and maybe play with the kids? Sure. Or heck, you could even go with the fishermen who go out on boats and actually bring in all the fish that we get in the supermarkets. A lot of those men, all they want to do is go home and put their feet up and not want to deal with stress for at least maybe 24 hours before they get back into the swing of being at home. You got to decompress at some point. And sadly nowadays, for a lot of men, most women don't like it when you want to go decompress. They immediately want your attention.
Yeah, they want a winner, but they don't want what it takes to be a winner.
Exactly.
What else, Sonic? I mean, do you think anything? I mean, what do you think about? I guess a woman just being there to be your support system. Do you think that's something that you would ever want to have?
Like a support system, like as in like if I'm like pursuing an endeavor, I want her to like have my back doing that.
Yeah, basically get in wherever she fits in, man. If it means like taking some loads off of you, like, maybe, I don't know, cooking for you, making sure your space is clean and neat and orderly. That way you can just focus on your work. Do you think that would be something that you could probably get along with?
I don't know, man. Like, because I have my sister used to do that for me, but the thing is that she had her own issues that she had to do. Oh, did Kavos leave?
No, he's back.
Oh, there you go. He's back. So like when it comes to that, like my sister used to do that for me, where she would like cook and clean and do my room for me. But like the thing is that like she had her own things that she had to do, right? Usually she's like the one like doing the crypto stuff, the collectible stuff. I used to do that, and I passed it on to her. So if what you're asking is like if you would want somebody who would support you, yes, I would, but she would need to have the skill for that. I can't just have somebody just coming in here and just like, because cleaning my room, I can do that. I love doing that. That like keeps me disciplined. It gets me moving. I can cook my own food. I like cooking my own food. But it's not when it's not something that I want them to help me with. I would rather have them help me out with perhaps editing or creating some sort of I don't know, artwork that I need. But they usually don't have those skills. They only have cooking and like cleaning, I guess.
Basic homely duties. Yeah.
just to like keep it simple, right?
Right.
They have those skills, right? And those aren't really skills that I'm looking for. I'm looking more for like something that can help me innovate, right? That can help me push my ideas a little further. That's what I'm looking for.
Understood. All right. Well, I mean,
so it would
each
be
their
nice.
own here, Cam.
Yeah. No, that's fine. The thing is, that's fine. I completely understand your point of view. But I mean, I guess if you had your sister do that for you, and it wasn't like, I don't know, I kind of understand. I can kind of relate with you and your sister, the kind of relationship that you have, because like my sister was kind of like, she was kind of like the caretaker of me and my younger brother when my mom and dad were at work and stuff. So she was kind of like mom number one, whereas my real mom was mom number two. We usually asked her if we can go outside and do stuff, whatever. But like I said, we're only 3 years apart, but we're kind of close. But yeah, she definitely kind of took care of us, me and my little brother. And but we also had the type of relationship where we could like kind of do our own thing, take care of ourselves. We became independent once we moved out of our parents' house and stuff, and we were able to take care of our own places and stuff like that. But it was kind of nice to be in a type of situation, because I've been in a couple situations, whatever. But it's nice to be in a situation where like you have someone that like loves to do that, enjoys like taking care of you, make sure that, you have like your coffee on your way to work, or, your shirt is pressed, before you go into the interview or something like that. I don't know. It's just nice to have someone there that like is just, she's rooting for you,
Yeah, well, you don't think that your wife or the one that is doing it to you, you don't think that she would probably want that in some form?
I mean, I support her in whatever interests that she has and stuff. Like, she has like a lot of collections of things, I think I might have mentioned that she's starting to collect like miniature liquor bottles and miniature perfume bottles. She just likes them because they're cute and stuff. So like, I support her on that, things like that.
It's not the same as like, I guess in your way, in the way you view things, it's not the same as like, cooking for her or cleaning for her, checking up on her to see how she's doing, if she's well mentally. Like,
oh no, I mean, I absolutely do that. She actually, I think I told you, I don't know if you heard, but she got injured a couple weeks, well, probably like a week ago, about my son basically like hit her in the eye and like slashed her retina. So I was taking care of her like hand and foot for like 2 straight days. And luckily I was off work, so I didn't have to like, worry about leaving her alone and stuff. But yeah, I've been in positions before where I've taken care of her, like fed her, took care of the kids and stuff, like took care of everything in the house so that she could just kind of rest and everything. And, in that time I am like making sure she's okay. And then also, when she's fine, when she's, when she's just at work or when she comes off of work and stuff, I ask her how her day is all the time. And, and she's more than happy to tell me, if anything's bothering her, so there's never anything that she bottles up and she keeps from me,
Well, the thing is that like, I'm kind of more or less talking about like, you backing her up and going all in on her dreams, although like for your wife, I think that she's not from this country, right? She's not from the US, right?
No, she's from the Philippines.
Yeah, so she has a completely different mindset. But like, if you were to have a woman here in the States, and she had dreams and she wanted to pursue them, I think that someone like that would probably want to have a full backing, right? To have somebody care for her like that, or to like look out for her mental health. Yeah, I'm pretty sure somebody would want that, right?
I mean, absolutely. And but the thing is, like, if I was in that situation, I would definitely be able to rise to the occasion. I mean, if the thing is, like, it's not like a money issue. It never will be a money issue. If it's like, hey, I need this much, endorsement, whatever, to pursue a dream or pursue a venture and stuff like that. I mean, that wouldn't be an issue. It would just be, us talking it through and, overthinking it maybe a little bit to see like what's feasible, what's unrealistic, what we can do in a certain time frame and stuff. I mean, stuff like that will also take a lot of communication, a lot of planning, so I would be mentally prepared for anything like that if that were to present itself. But, that's the thing about being in a relationship, being in a marriage, you're just taking it day by day. If you have plans for each other, we voice our plans. I always tell my wife, I was like, whatever plan you have, write it down and we will achieve it. It's just a matter of just putting it out there, like what you want to do and us working towards it, So there's nothing that goes like unfulfilled. There's nothing that people are just like, there's nothing that we're giving up on, Our plans is to, save and get like a bigger house and stuff so we can have a bigger space for the kids and everything. And that's what we're currently working on right now, So it's like, it's just a small goals. We don't, I mean, she was talking about, because I think when the Mega Millions was like in the $1 billion, whatever, we were having that conversation, like, what would we do if we had won the Powerball and stuff? And I was like, it's easy. I would definitely invest in, an IRA. I would get like properties and stuff. I would, start a business. And, we would, it wasn't just like blanket statements like that. I mean, we were actually like really talking about like, what would we want to do? And I asked her, I was like, what would you do if you did that, and the same thing. She's like, well, I would definitely want to put away a little nest egg for retirement. Definitely get a house, pay it off, take care of her, sister, take care of her brother, and just make sure the family's okay. And then, pursue whatever venture, we have. But like her dreams and stuff, like her aspirations, they align with mine. But it's only know that because we talked about it, It's like if we just never had that conversation, it's like I'd never know where she stood. But that's the thing. We have conversations like that all the time. And that's why it's like, it's so important. Like more than looks, more than sexual attraction, communication is number one in a relationship, any successful relationship. If you don't have that, you don't have nothing. Don't quote me on that because there's a double negative in that. But if you don't have communication, you don't have nothing. All right. You got to have that number one. And, you know, after that, physical attraction, all that stuff. Yes. I mean, the thing is, you built up enough time and rapport with this person. It doesn't matter what they look like because you have so much time invested with them. It's like you look beyond any type of like imperfection or whatever. And you just like, this is my person, you know? And I'm just, there's nothing, come what may, we're going to tackle it together. That's it. You know, there is no quit. There is no give up. There's no surrender. And, you know, it's one thing you don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
You just got to find a solid person, Sonic. You need to find a solid person that wants to be on your team and make you a better person.
That's the thing, though. I already have somebody who is a part of my team, but the thing is that like they want to do it their way, and it's kind of difficult to kind of.
Are they really on your team then?
Yeah, because like they're still doing like a good majority of what I want them to do. But that's the thing, though. You have to understand that you're gonna have to compromise. They're not gonna do exactly everything you're gonna want them to do, right?
Sure. People have autonomy, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So I obviously like they're gonna want to do it their own way. Because my sister and I, we kind of bump heads into what to invest into. You know, it's there's that aspect of it, but I think that's natural. That's going to come with everyone, right? Unless you, of course, pay them. But like since we're like doing this together, you know, they have ideas, I have ideas, so we can't really argue with that. But yeah,
Okay.
I think that's the cost of like working together with somebody. Unless, of course, you pay them, then you know I think that's different, right? You have an expectation for their service, for their skills, right?
Yeah, it goes beyond the personal once there's payment involved. Yeah, I mean, then it's they really are kind of beholden to whatever you want to do.
But then we're talking about personal relationships, not financial relationships, right?
Right. It's gonna have to be a little bit more flexible. I get it. I get what you're saying, dude.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, if you found someone that wasn't your family, you know, that you could possibly see eye to eye with, I think it would be I think it would be eye opening for you. I think
It probably would, but like of all the girls that I've had around me, like, you know, I'm not holding my breath because like most of them, they have their own dreams, they have their own things they want to do. I don't hold them against that, right? But none of them have ever said like I'm all in on you. You know, I just want to invest into you because they don't. That kind of requires kind of like a certain mindset, either a progressive mindset or someone who's like business oriented in some way. But yeah, like for like the average woman, I don't think that they're thinking in those terms, right?
Well, it kind of goes back to what Camp said earlier. Like everyone's kind of just self-centered now. They just want to, you know, Camp, you were saying earlier how like everyone just only cares about themselves now.
Yeah. I mean, with the options that women have, yes, they have the ability to just kind of like seek their own pleasure, their own fulfillment. And most of that fulfillment is coming from money, easy money made online. So they're just like, I don't need a man, dude. I got this. I got my own bag, you know? Like I don't need a man.
Right.
But you know, and men are just an option now. They're not like a necessity. You know? Because there's enough simps. Simps are messing it up for everybody. You know, that's the problem.
Yeah.
They have ruined everything.
Yes, but simps aren't the only ones to blame here, sadly.
Yeah. I mean, they're not the only ones, but they are the ones that are kind of keeping this, the easy money flowing, you know? Whereas if you were to take away OnlyFans, if you were to take away any type of like donation for, you know, time and pictures and all that other stuff, I think that it would change the landscape a little bit, you know, like.
Oh, it would. I mean, if they also changed the laws on the state level, that would also help too.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
yeah.
Kentucky in 2008 made it mandatory law that unless there was enough evidence, and it couldn't just be accusations, there had to be solid evidence of parental abuse. They actually mandated that when parents split, it's automatic 50-50 custody, and now, after they've gone back through the data, Kentucky's actually found out that they had a 25% drop in the divorce rate.
Wow.
So it's not just simps; it's also the laws on the books too. Because in some cases, when you actually give women the equality they supposedly ask for, they don't like the results.
And that's what the modern world that we're living in. You go to other countries where they're like maybe third world countries, you see that men and women kind of fall into their gender roles, because they don't have time for this like third wave feminism and all this stuff. And it's like, no, the women want to stay at home. They want to take care of the children, and men just want to go and work hard, and it's just easier. I don't know, man. I think that's going back to what I said. I think if you have a society that is technology advanced, they have all the comforts and all the conveniences and stuff, we start to lose focus of what's important, and we start to focus on like niche things. We start to like go into our own holes of our own debauchery, if you will, the dark side of our minds, that we're never supposed to like, sit in. But I think that it happens like that when you have all the conveniences and you have all of the distractions, and you don't have to connect with anybody.
Well, isn't that?
Well, I mean, most of the suffering that most of our ancestors went through, we never have. I mean, sure, COVID was a nice wake-up call to humanity that, just because we have antibiotics, retrovirals, and vaccines, that's nice. Here, let's have something you couldn't account. Here's something you couldn't account for. But,
yeah, like hoarders.
Hoarders, man. If you actually go through history, the amount of plagues that wiped out populations was massive. I mean, most women, I think the fatality rate just from childbirth was somewhere around 60%.
Yeah, I know, like, what was it 30, 35 was like old age back then, like.
Yeah, if you live to see 30 winters, that was extraordinary. If you actually saw 50 winters, you were very much considered a treasure of the community.
That's only because people were dying to like common colds and stuff, like gangrene and all that stuff, like stuff that.
Well, gangrene is a different infection, but flu was bad. The bubonic plague and the pneumonic plague really ripped up the world. Well, the world of, let me think, what is it, like, it was somewhere in modern, which we would call Eurasia, and then the plague through the rats on the trade ships came back to what is now modern European countries, but it would have been the city-states of Italy and the kingdoms of England and France and the city-states of Prussia. So, in truth, we actually haven't been through the suffering that our ancestors have been through. I mean, heck, if you go back to the 1910s, polio outbreaks were actually a problem.
Dude, I had my second grade teacher had polio. So, I mean, it's not that far off. But like I said, dude, it's just like we are living in the most convenient, like, Caligula times, if you will. I mean, we're just like, we're short of like eating grapes off the vine, like we're at that point now where I think we just have all the conveniences and all of the distractions and stuff to really kind of take us off of the mark that we are trying anymore as humans. You know, like people are just they're not striving for anything anymore because they're like, dude, I can just sit home with my things and be happy, you know, because these things make me happy. And it's like human interaction. I mean, I don't know if you've heard like how it is in Japan and stuff, you know, how like the men and women, they're just not getting together anymore, you know, because they have all this like technology. And if you want to have the girlfriend experience, all you gotta do is pay for it. You know, you can cuddle with the woman in a little cuddle bar and you're good. You know, that's all you need. You just need a little bit of warmth. That's it. You know, you don't even want sex. You just want the companionship, you know, just for an hour or so. And yeah, it's like
it's gonna get worse for the newer generation too. I think I read a stat somewhere that like I don't know what the newer generation is called. I think like I completely forgot, but like
Gen Alpha or the
yeah. There's like a stat that like they're supposedly gonna be like staying more indoors and like they're gonna be like basically glued to like their like phones and you know like computers and stuff. Like it was crazy, man. Honestly.
And when you have people that are alone like that, they're gonna die alone in their apartments. They're not gonna be found for a couple days until like the landlord comes and finds their dead body because they didn't have anybody to freaking like take care of them, man. It's like
that's actually happening now.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's scary because that's what you know. It's getting to kind of like over here. You know, you got people that they just don't want to have that interaction. They have so much like anxiety built up, you know, and all that fear of rejection and stuff. They're just like, I just don't want to deal with it, man. I want to just, you know, I just want to go in my little hole. I want to have my things and I just want to exist. You know, I don't want to live. I just want to exist. And I mean,
hey guys, I have to go.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me up, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, dude. Thanks for stopping in, man.
Sure, Kavos. Take it easy, bro.
Yeah, man.
Have a good night, Kavos.
See you guys later.
Take it easy. Yep. I mean,
Cam, did you hear about the woman? I think this happened 10 years ago, but did you hear about that 60? I think she was like 64 when she passed. What happened to her after she passed in California?
I don't think so. What else happened to her?
Well, she was in from what they could tell from the medical examiner's report was they think she had had like a slight stroke and then somehow that led to a heart attack, and she was in her bedroom and she just kind of sat up and then just fell over and she was gone. They didn't find nobody actually found her for like 6 months, and when they actually did go into her house, they found her fully mummified.
That's crazy, man. I mean, yeah. I thought I read something or saw something about a woman that she died in her home, you know, for a couple of months, and when they found her, she had dogs, and her dogs had eaten her. And I was like, that's crazy.
I've heard that, but it was actually her cats.
Oh wow! I mean, that's just as bad.
They actually tested this, and they actually found that dogs will not start eating you unless it's like the absolute last resort. But most cats, as soon as you pass, and it's like free food, and they'll start eating.
Yeah. So that's why I'm just like, no pets in my house, dude. For the simple fact. But what was I gonna say, Sonic, so do you have anything else for what you think, man? Because just in terms of, I guess, your whole outlook, it was really interesting what you said, that we are all kind of a little gay. I kind of want to go back to that a little bit because I just fundamentally disagree, you know, and I'm just wondering how you arrived at that.
I started arriving at that when because what's his name, O'Shea Dude Jackson, he talked about how like Hispanic men are like DL on the down low, and there's so many more Hispanics that like are practicing these acts, these bisexual acts. At least that's what they refer to them as, bisexual acts. And it really got me thinking. I started thinking to myself, like, wait a minute, man, like like a lot of these Hispanic men, I genuinely looked it up, and it stated that, you know, Hispanic men are more likely to be bisexual, or no, sorry, are more likely to be gay than white men. And I
Hmm.
was thinking like, wait, this is like like we're talking about Hispanic men, like, you know, like from like Central America, Latin America, like these guys who like follow the machismo type of like lifestyle. These
Right.
guys are
Hmm.
gay. So it really got me thinking, and I was thinking like, dude, like what if it's not even like this whole thing about being man? What if there's like a spectrum for all men, you know? And then like the ones who completely rejected are the ones that have never actually, or perhaps have given it a, like they've thought about it, or they've given it a shot, and like they're all like, I can never do this again. This is an abomination because of what they believe or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. I think that like if people weren't so rigid with their philosophy or their beliefs
Hmm.
of you know, this is what it means to be a man, I think that they would also be just as fluid as these Hispanic men. You know what I mean?
I hear you, man, but I don't agree. I just think that, you know, there's just certain things that just disgust us, you know? And for me, like, it's just, I don't have no problem with, you know, gay people, you know, or lesbian people. I have no problem, or trans people, you know, like live and let live, man. But it's like, it just disgusts me, you know, like it's not for me, you know, it's not something for me to understand. It's just something for me to tolerate, you know, and
Is it?
it's like
I was gonna say, is it because? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say it's like it's natural for me to like be attracted to women. That's just all it is. It's just natural. It's like it's a knee jerk reaction. If I were to like, I don't know, look up from my menu at a restaurant and I see just like two men, just burly beards, just going at it, it'd be like, you know, things would be like, okay, go look away, you know, because it's just like it's repulsive, you know.
Yeah. Um, have you actually ever like because the thing is that like once you're exposed to it over and over again, you start to become a bit desensitized to it, which means that now you're a little more open to like that whole idea. Now you can see it more clearly because now that you've been exposed to it, the ideas of I don't want to say prejudice, it's more like a bias, I guess. Those bias ideas that used to have like no longer cloud your judgment. So, I mean, you wouldn't think that perhaps if you didn't have these beliefs,
Mhm.
you don't think that you would probably view it differently?
I just, I, this is what I think. I think that if, I mean, I've been exposed to it because, you know, growing up in Atlanta and stuff, it's all around, you know, and, you know, my sister had a lot of gay friends as well. So it's, it's one of those things that I can, I see it. I wouldn't say I'm desensitized from it because I still like am repulsed by it. Like in terms of like, I can't understand it, you know? So I don't even try to understand it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was
I
saying.
don't
You
even
see what
try
I mean?
to, yeah, it's not like but it's not like I have hatred. There's one thing to have no understanding of something and have hatred of something that you don't understand. That's a very real thing.
Yeah.
That's not the case with me. I wouldn't even say I understand it. I just say I know of it, and it just doesn't, my brain just doesn't understand it. I just can't like bring myself to even understand it because it's not a world that I don't need to participate in, you know? It's like
Yeah, I
it's like
totally get you.
Islam, you know. Like I understand the religion and how, you know, it's like one of the fastest growing religions and stuff, and but it also fosters a lot of extremist views and stuff like that. But it's not something that I'll ever like concern myself with because it's not something that I'm ever going to observe myself. You know,
Yeah.
I can
I mean, I
acknowledge
think
its
that
existence, but I don't have to hate it. I don't have to change it. I'm not going to try and impose my will on it. So I mean, and it's not me being a fence sitter either. Like that's just me, you know. I'm all about letting people do whatever they want with their lives and stuff. But for me, you know, like if I, you know, like I have my son, I have my daughter, I want to raise my son to be, you know, a masculine man, you know, a strong man, and, you know, a man of honor and competence and intelligence, you know. And my daughter, I want her to be feminine. I want her to be, you know, I want to have her mind of herself. I want her to be intelligent, you know, but I also want her to be kind of supportive as well. I want her to be able to like take care of, her little brother, watch over him, and also, take care of us too when me and my wife get old. Like I want her to be able to have that kind of heart as well, kind of that nurturing side. And but I understand that we're living in a time where she's going to be tuned into social media. She's going to have friends that are going to be, indoctrinated into like this type of modern woman feminist mindset. And it's going to be upon me and my wife to kind of like show her the example,
Yeah.
That's all we can do.
That's another thing too that I wanted to ask you. I don't know if, and you can stop me if you want to, like, if you find this disrespectful, I'll stop.
Good.
But, I kind of want to ask, like, what would you, if you don't mind me asking, like, what would you do if your son or your daughter comes out, playing for the other team, like, gay or lesbian?
It's funny. It's crazy. As much as it wouldn't be something I would want initially. It would be something ultimately that I would have to accept. I can say that. They're still my son. They're still my daughter. I still love them very much. It would just sadden me that they would not be able to have children of their own. They would have to adopt.
Yeah, I get you on that. Wait, what about surrogate mother? Well,
yeah, it's not the same.
Just because one of them is going to have to for themselves up. But I get you on that. Though.
There's a lot of technicalities in it, and there's a lot more money in doing it the other way when it's so much easier just to do it the natural way. But it would sadden me that I wouldn't have grandchildren. That are like, blood children, they'd have to be either adopted or they'd be, surrogate or something like that, and I don't know. I just, again, it just goes back to my core principles of, I will let people live the way they want to live. And I would still, especially if they're my family and they're my children, I would definitely accept them, because I know how important it is to have a father in your life and your mother, the balance of your mother in your life as well, So, yeah, I mean, I would never turn my back on my children, no matter what.
See, interesting. All right, for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing. I guess you could say, growing up in this modern world, and just seeing how the times have changed and everything like that, I've never had like hatred of people that are different from me because I've always been different, like I didn't know any other Blasians until I got a lot older, but like, yeah, it was like, I was kind of ostracized and stuff, but then I had just multiple different friends of all different cultures and stuff. And I even had some gay friends, but it was, I mean, that's it, it wasn't like anything. No boys being boys type situation. It was never that. It was always a respectful kind of thing, So,
yeah.
I don't know. I think it just comes down to common decency, brother.
Yeah.
The world's a big place, and I'm not really here to try to just only converse with people that are like me, and because I mean, I've said it before, man, you get a little bit of information from everybody, even from you can teach me a lot. Ghost can teach us both a lot. And, that's kind of how the way of the world, I mean, we all kind of lift each other up in our own ways, So,
yeah, I see.
And I agree with that whole love is love kind of thing. It doesn't matter who it is, if you're attracted to somebody, you could be attracted to somebody. To me, it's traditionally a woman that I'm attracted to, but I do observe that there are people that are just attracted to the personality of someone, not necessarily the gender. I actually had to look this up. The whole I don't even know what it's called. I'm drawing a blank on it. It's different from bisexual. It's like pansexual.
Well, yeah, I heard.
Where I'm just like, okay, that's just bisexual, or that's just gay. Like that was me like a couple years ago. Be like, this is all just gay, bro. Like, it's like, okay, so you're part-time gay if you're bisexual, and it's a very ignorant statement, but when you look at it from, I guess, what's it called, from the X's and those, you're just gay, man. You're just gay. You're like, no, I'm attracted to this person's personality, but did you suck his dick? You're like, yeah, okay, well then you're okay. we're going to put you over here then, you know? And that's the thing, man. It's like, that's fine. I'm not here to hate. I'm just here to, like, you know, it's like, look, I'm not going to, I've kind of already made up my mind in terms of like what I think, you know. I don't necessarily have to share it and spread hate or spread any type of perception of hate, because there really is no hate in my heart, man. You know, we're all humans at the end of the day. We all deserve life. We all deserve to strive for our experiences, you know, and strive for our goals and our dreams and stuff like that. And I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what religion you practice. You know, I think we can all get along, man.
Yeah, perfect, man. Yeah, I definitely agree with that, man.
I can talk to anybody, bro. You've seen me. I even talked to my hater. We practically buried the hatchet, you know? But it's like, you got to have an open mind about these things, you know? I'm just not open to everything. You know? You got to draw the line somewhere.
Well, I mean, I like to be open to a lot of things, man. You know, there are some things that obviously, like, you don't ever want to go down.
Yeah, like touching kids.
That too, but I was thinking more like, you know, cartel activity.
Too. No, what I'm talking about is that, you know, like there are some people that are like, you know, maybe bestiality should be a sexual orientation at some point, you know, or
No.
it's weird. It's weird. I agree. But, you know, who's to say in the next 10, 20 years, maybe sooner than that, you know? They're trying to normalize it. Because right now, before it was the gay thing, now it's the trans thing. What's next? You know?
Wait. Let me check something out really quick. Maps, right? That's like that one pedophile stuff.
Oh, I don't know.
Do they have a flag?
I have no idea. I don't know. Oh, you're talking about the tracker predator thing with the red flags and stuff?
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. They do have a flag. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. I don't keep up with all of these guys. That's crazy, man. Like the flag is literally like white, I think yellow, and some pink and blue. That's crazy.
Yeah, different codes for different things. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is that, like, yeah, there's some things that, you know, you just probably don't want to go down. I'm thinking more like, you know, cartel activity or criminal activity. You don't ever want to explore those aisles because obviously the more you know,
that's true.
The more likely you have a chance you'll end up eliminated, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I only try to delve into topics that I have a mild interest in. I definitely don't have any interest in mafia or cartel stuff like that. You know, that's definitely a whole world that I've never really been attuned to, and I really don't have any interest in, you know? Yeah. So... But you know, what I will say, bro, is it's cool knowing people like you, Sonic, that kind of you're willing to kind of offer a different perspective and you're not really ashamed of it, you know? Like, I appreciate that about you, because there's a lot of people I know, man, that are just, they struggle every day and they just hold it inside and like they won't tell you what's wrong and stuff. And it's like, dude, if you just... like, you know, like when you know when someone is gay, but they have not admitted it to themselves yet. You're running people like that.
Oh yeah.
So, dude, it's a struggle. It's a struggle to like get them to open up and stuff. It's just like they're just so afraid, you know. And it's like, it's not a way to live, man. You know. But I get it. It's like you don't want you have all this social anxiety. You think you're gonna lose your friends. You think you're gonna get like disowned from your mom and dad and stuff. And, you know, you're gonna be all alone and stuff, but it's just like, no, dude, it's like, I don't know. I just think it's easier to be authentic, man. And, again, I'm not here to impose my ideas, but, you know, I do like to offer an opinion from here, you know, from time to time. And, I welcome anybody that disagrees with me. I appreciate it, you know, because I learn a little bit. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. I really do. I try my best to be as authentic as possible. I feel like sometimes I get annoying though.
No, man.
I just keep going at it, and I'm like, bro, all right, bro, I get it. You know.
keep doing yourself, Sonic, man. Keep doing it, man. Because I mean, dude, I appreciate the work you put out, and I mean, it's always good to have you on the channel too, man, because it's like we're always talking about stuff. We're never just like shooting the shit about nothing, you know. So it's cool. It's cool, man. You get me. You get the gears turning in my head every once in a while. And Ghost, you do too. You too, man. You always dropping bombs on me. So I appreciate that.
No problem.
Yeah, man.
I didn't even get to ask Ghost about what he thought about like the whole topic we were talking about.
Which part of the topic?
Honestly, man, I don't even remember anymore because we jump from topic to topic to topic, and that's another thing too with camp. Like, there were so many things I wanted to ask you, camp, but like, it's like every single time I would want to ask, like, we just jump from topic to topic to topic, and I'm like, damn.
Just make some notes, man. Make some notes. That's all I can tell you,
dude. Bro, I have notes right here. I try to write the notes, and then like by the time like we're like on like by the time I want to ask the question, like we're already on a whole nother topic. I'm like, it's not relevant anymore. And then at some point, I just gave up writing notes because I was like, there's no point, you know. Like,
hey, no, man. I think it would be good if you just came packing with a bunch of notes and be like, no, shut up. We're not talking about that. Let's stay on this topic. I want to see that side one day.
I actually have a list of questions for Villa too. Like,
oh yeah, I thought we were going to maybe have another follow up, but I was like, 2 shows in a row. That's asking a lot, you know. I mean, the guy's running a business, all right. I don't want to take him away from that. But no, I mean, keep your questions. I'm sure he'll be back. Just like we have our returning cast from time to time. So yeah, no, but I do appreciate you guys coming out. Thank you. And it's always a good talk with you, Sonic. Always good talk with you, Mr. Ghost. Is there anything you'd like to, I guess, announce about your channels, things you're working on that we can look forward to?
My next live stream is tomorrow at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. My next video is almost done. I just need to find somebody who can actually watch it and give me some more neutral perspective before I'm like, okay, this is ready to post.
Got you. And you're still streaming Paper Mario still, or you've finished that?
No, still doing Paper Mario. Normally the RPG titles tend to last longer.
Oh, don't I know it?
Unless there's like a DLC thing for Doom Eternal, which they ratcheted up the difficulty, so I actually spent a little longer on Doom Eternal than I thought I was going to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have videos that go up into the 30 episodes for RPGs on my channel, so I'm well aware of that. Sonic, you got anything that we can look forward to that you're coming down with?
Just a video coming out on Monday. It's on my channel. If you guys want to watch it, check it out. It's Sonic Mindscape. Check out the video before you guys subscribe. Check out other videos. If I'm the type of content you like, then subscribe. If not, I totally understand. I do appreciate you giving me your time. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, Sonic has a good AI video. AI's taking all our jobs. Go watch that video. That's a good one. I recently liked that one, so definitely go check that out. But
thank you guys.
Cool, man. Appreciate you guys coming out, and I guess I'll see you guys next week on the next one.
Sure.
Awesome.
No problem. Thank you for having us on, Camp.
Thank you. Enjoy your weekend, and I will be enjoying my birthday. So you guys will see me. I'll be a little bit older, a little bit wiser. So.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
All right. Peace.
Bye.
All right, y'all. So you guys have a good evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys on the next one. You guys take care.
Camp Fossil One, squad moves like a freight train. Streaming live Saturdays, no need for a campaign. Cook Benny in the chat, spitting heat, uncontained. Haters lurking in the shadows, they ain't built for this terrain. Kavos dropping gems, wisdom sharper than a blade. XO Charles in the mix, got the whole game amazed. Taking souls for free, no invoice, no delays. Debating Sonic, spitting logic, making waves. Hustlers unite every Saturday night. We shine bright, got the spotlight in sight. Live stream flames, haters take flight. Chopping it with Hank, keep the vibe airtight. Commentary live, no script, just pure flair. Every power dagger leaving doubters in despair. This ain't just the hustle, it's a kingdom we declare. Building brick by brick, we ain't folding under glare. Hank Russell in the cut, breaking bread, trading thoughts. While they talk trash, we strategize and plot. Every stream of canvas, every word a stroke of art. We out here taking names, pulling strings, playing smart. Hustlers unite every Saturday night. We shine bright, got the spotlight in sight. Live stream flames, haters take flight. Chopping it with Hank, keep the vibe airtight.